It was just another evening at the bar when Lily Parker let the words slip out, half joking, half contemptuous. A single dad like you? How could you possibly make a woman happy? She expected him to look away, maybe deflect with humor. Instead, Ethan Walker leaned closer, his eyes steady. No anger in them. Just certainty. "Want to bet?" he said quietly. That moment, Lily realized she had touched something deeper than she intended. An old wound, or maybe a truth society had been ignoring all along. The bar was half empty on a Thursday night, the kind of place where people went to unwind without pretense. Lily sat at the corner of the counter, nursing a gin and tonic. She had come here straight from the office, still wearing her blazer, still feeling the tension from a day full of meetings that could have been emails. The bartender knew her order by heart. She liked that anonymity, that routine. Ethan had walked in 20 minutes earlier. He took the seat 3 stools down, ordered a beer, and checked his phone twice in quick succession. Lily noticed because she noticed everything. The way he dressed was simple but deliberate, like someone who had stopped caring about impressing strangers but still respected himself. Dark jeans, a button-down with the sleeves rolled up. No wedding ring. She caught that detail immediately. When his phone buzzed again, he glanced at the screen and smiled faintly before typing something back. Lily had seen that look before. It was the smile of someone who had something waiting for them at home. Not a woman. A responsibility. Maybe a pet. Maybe a kid. She did not plan to say anything. But the bartender, an older guy named Ron who talked too much, asked Ethan how his son was doing. Ethan said the boy was good, just got over a cold. Ron laughed and said something about how hard it must be doing it alone. Ethan shrugged and said it was not that hard once you got used to it. That was when Lily looked over. She had been half listening, the way you do when someone else's conversation fills the silence. But now she was interested. Single dad. That explained the phone, the calm demeanor, the lack of desperation some men carried into bars like this. She finished her drink and decided to leave. But something made her speak first. Maybe it was the gin. Maybe it was the week she had. Maybe it was the fact that she had dated 3 men in the past year, and all of them had been boys pretending to be grown. "A single dad like you?" Lily said, her voice carrying just enough to reach him. "How could you possibly make a woman happy?" She did not mean it cruelly, or maybe she did. Either way, she expected him to ignore her or laugh it off. Instead, Ethan turned his head slowly and looked at her. Not defensive, not offended, just steady. "Want to bet?" he said. The air between them shifted. Lily felt her pulse quicken, not from attraction, but from something closer to challenge. She had thrown a stone expecting to hear it splash. Instead, it landed solid. Ethan stood and walked over, taking the seat beside her. He set his beer down and looked at her directly. His eyes were darker than she expected, patient in a way that unnerved her. "You think being a dad makes me less capable of that?" Ethan asked. His tone was not angry. It was curious. Lily straightened in her seat. She was not going to back down just because he had decided to engage. "I think it makes you busy," she said. "Distracted, probably tired all the time. And let's be honest, most women don't want to deal with someone else's kid." Ethan nodded slowly, like he was considering her words with genuine interest. "That's fair," he said. "Some women don't. But that's not the same thing as me not being able to make someone happy." Lily tilted her head. She was waiting for him to defend himself, to list his qualities like men always did when their egos got bruised. But he did not. "You assume happiness is about availability," Ethan continued. "Like, if I'm not free every night, if I have responsibilities, then I can't give enough. But that's not how it works. Then how does it work? Lily asked, more curious now than combative. Ethan took a sip of his beer before answering. He seemed to be choosing his words carefully, not because he was unsure, but because he wanted them to matter. Happiness isn't about how much time you give someone, he said. It's about the quality of that time. It's about showing up when it counts. It's about not running when things get complicated. Lily felt something shift inside her, a discomfort she was not ready to name. She had built her life around independence, around not needing anyone, and men, in her experience, were either too clingy or too distant. There was no middle ground. Sounds like you've given this a lot of thought, she said, her voice softer now. Ethan smiled faintly. I've had to. Ron refilled Lily's glass without asking. She thanked him quietly and took a sip, buying herself a moment to think. She had started this conversation as a passing jab, a way to confirm what she already believed. But now she was in it, and Ethan was not playing the role she expected. You have a son, Lily said, more statement than question. Yeah, he's 7. His name is Jake. And his mom? Ethan's expression did not change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Not in the picture. Hasn't been for 3 years. Lily nodded. She did not press. She knew what it was like to have parts of your story you did not want to explain to strangers in bars. So you do it all yourself, she said. I do what needs to be done, Ethan replied. Same as anyone. There was no self-pity in his voice, no bitterness, just fact. Lily found that more disarming than anything else he could have said. She leaned back slightly, studying him. He was not trying to impress her. He was not trying to win an argument. He was just there, present, and unbothered by her judgment. You really think you could make someone happy? Lily said, this time without the edge. Ethan met her gaze. I know I could. The question is whether she'd let me. That stopped her, because he was right. Every man she had dated, she had kept at arm's length. She told herself it was because they were not good enough, not mature enough. But maybe it was because she was afraid of what would happen if they were. Lily looked down at her glass. The ice had started to melt, diluting the drink. She could leave now. Pay her tab, walk out, forget this conversation ever happened. But she did not move. Why didn't you just ignore me? She asked quietly. Ethan shrugged. Because you're wrong, and I thought maybe you wanted to be. Lily looked up at him, startled. He was not smiling. He was not smug. He was just honest. She realized then that she had a choice. She could hold on to the belief that single dads were a compromise, a second-best option. Or she could stay and see if the man sitting next to her was everything she had convinced herself did not exist. Ethan finished his beer and set the bottle down. He pulled out his phone, glanced at it, then looked at her. I have to get home, he said. Jake's babysitter has class in the morning. Lily nodded. She expected him to leave it at that. But instead, he reached into his wallet and pulled out a business card. He slid it across the bar to her. If you want to continue this conversation, Ethan said, let me know. Then he stood, left a $20 bill on the counter, and walked out. Lily sat there, staring at the card. It had his name, a phone number. Number and nothing else. No job title. No fancy logo. Just Ethan Walker and 10 digits. She picked it up and slipped it into her purse. She told herself she probably would not call, but she knew that was a lie. Lily waited 3 days before calling. She told herself it was because she was busy, which was true. But mostly she was testing something. She wanted to see if Ethan would reach out first, if he would chase the way men usually did when they sensed interest. He did not. On Sunday afternoon, She finally dialed the number on the card. It rang 4 times before he picked up. "This is Ethan," he said. Background noise filtered through, the sound of a kid laughing. "It's Lily," she said. "From the bar." There was a brief moment before he responded, and she could hear him moving to a quieter space. "I remember," Ethan said. "Give me a second." She heard a door close, and the noise faded. When he spoke again, his voice was clearer. "Sorry about that. Jake's having a friend over. It gets loud." Lily felt a small twinge of something she did not want to name. Guilt, maybe, or realization. She had interrupted his Sunday with his son. "I can call back another time," she offered. "No, it's fine," Ethan said. "What's up?" She had rehearsed this conversation in her head, but now that he was on the line, the words felt clumsy. "I wanted to see if you were serious," Lily said, "about continuing the conversation." Ethan's tone softened. "I don't say things I don't mean." "Then let's get coffee," she said, more confident now. "Tomorrow, if you're free." There was a beat of silence, and she thought maybe she had misread everything. But then he spoke. "I can do tomorrow. 6:30 work for you? There's a place near where I live." 6:30, Lily confirmed. He gave her the address, a cafe she had never heard of in a neighborhood she rarely visited. They said goodbye, and she hung up, feeling something she had not felt in a long time. Anticipation. The cafe was small, tucked between a laundromat and a bookstore. Lily arrived 10 minutes early and ordered a latte while she waited. Ethan walked in exactly at 6:30, wearing jeans and a gray sweater. He looked more relaxed than he had at the bar, less guarded. He ordered black coffee and sat across from her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Lily realized she had built this meeting up in her head, turned it into something bigger than it needed to be. "Thanks for coming," Ethan said, breaking the silence. "Thanks for not standing me up," Lily replied, half joking. Ethan smiled. "That's not really my style." They talked for an hour. Lily asked him about his work. He was a project manager for a construction company, managing timelines and crews. It was steady work, nothing glamorous, but he seemed content with it. He asked about her job. She worked in marketing, handling campaigns for mid-sized brands. She liked the creative side, but hated the office politics. What surprised her was how easily the conversation flowed. Ethan did not dominate the space, but he did not fade into the background either. He listened more than he talked, and when he did speak, his words carried weight. At some point, the conversation shifted to Jake. Ethan did not bring him up to impress her or prove anything. He mentioned him the way anyone would mention something important in their life, naturally and without apology. "He's into dinosaurs right now," Ethan said. "Last week he made me watch this documentary about velociraptors 3 times in a row." Lily smiled despite herself. "Sounds exhausting." "It is," Ethan admitted, "but he's happy. That's what matters." There it was again, that straightforwardness. Lily had expected him to downplay the difficulty, to pretend being a single parent was easy, but he did not. He just accepted it. "Do you ever regret it?" Lily asked, the question slipping out before she could stop it. "Taking on all of that alone?" Ethan looked at her, his expression unreadable for a moment. Then he shook his head. "No," he said simply. "I regret how things ended with his mom. I regret that Jake doesn't have her around. But I don't regret him. Not for a second." Lily felt something crack open inside her. She had been so sure that men like Ethan were weighed down by their circumstances, that they carried resentment beneath the surface. But he did not. He carried responsibility, yes, but not bitterness. They left the cafe together, and Ethan walked her to her car. The night air was cool, and the street was quiet except for the distant hum of traffic. "Can I see you again?" Ethan asked. Lily looked at him, standing there with his hands in his pockets, waiting for her answer without expectation. "Yeah," she said. "I'd like that." Over the next 2 weeks, they saw each other 4 more times. Twice for coffee, once for dinner at a quiet Italian place where the pasta was better than the ambiance. And once, Ethan invited her to a park where he was taking Jake to play soccer. Lily almost said no to that one. Meeting the kid felt like crossing a line she was not ready for. But Ethan had been casual about it, no pressure, just an invitation. So she went. Jake was smaller than she expected, all energy and wild curls. He barely acknowledged her at first, too focused on kicking the ball to his dad. But after 20 minutes, he ran over to where she was sitting on the bench and asked if she wanted to play too. Lily was not good at soccer. She had never been athletic. But she got up and tried anyway, mostly because Jake looked at her like it mattered. Ethan stood back and watched, a faint smile on his face. Afterward, they got ice cream. Jake ordered chocolate with gummy bears on top and talked non-stop about a science project he was doing at school. Lily listened, surprised by how much she enjoyed it. She had always thought kids were unpredictable, exhausting. But Jake was just a person, a small one, but still. On the drive home, Lily realized something uncomfortable. She was starting to care, not just about Ethan, but about the whole picture. And that terrified her. The following week, Ethan called her on a Wednesday night. She could hear the strain in his voice before he even said what was wrong. "Jake's sick," he said. "High fever. I'm taking him to urgent care." Lily's chest tightened. "Is he okay?" "I think so, but I need to cancel tomorrow. I'm sorry." "Don't apologize," Lily said quickly. "Just take care of him." "I will," Ethan said. "I'll call you when I know more." He did not call that night, or the next day. Lily tried not to read into it, but the silence bothered her more than she wanted to admit. On Friday, she texted him. "How's Jake?" The reply came an hour later. "He's better. Just a virus. Thanks for checking." She waited for him to say more, to suggest rescheduling. But he did not. And that was when the doubt crept in. Lily had seen this before. Men who said they wanted something, but could not follow through. Men who meant well, but were too consumed by their own lives to make room for anyone else. She told herself Ethan was different, but maybe he was not. On Saturday, she ran into a friend at a coffee shop. Rachel was someone she had known since college, the kind of friend who could read her moods without asking. "You look stressed," Rachel said, sliding into the seat across from her. Lily sighed. "I'm seeing someone. Sort of." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "Sort of?" "He's a single dad," Lily said, and the words felt heavier than they should have. Rachel's expression shifted, a mix of sympathy and caution. "Oh, that's complicated." "Why does everyone say that?" Lily asked, more defensive than she intended. "Because it is," Rachel said gently. "You're not just dating him. You're dating his whole life." Lily stared into her coffee. She wanted to argue, to say Rachel was wrong, but she could not. "He canceled on me this week," Lily said, "because his kid was sick." "And that bothered you," Rachel said, not unkindly. Lily did not answer right away.